welcome everyone. I was here about 10 minutes early and there wasn't a seat taken. So I'm so glad that you folks could join us in person. And I know we're also broadcasting this across the Aggie network. So welcome to all of you folks watching online. I'm so excited to be here to present this year's State of the University talk. And as you will see, we have had an amazing year in spite of all of the constraints and changes we've had because of that darned old COVID. But in the end of it, we persevered, we've come through with incredible resilience, and we've had many, many successes. I just wanted to highlight this beautiful, beautiful building. This is actually from our USU Blanding campus. So for any of you that have not been down there, I hope someday that you can see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful site and a beautiful campus. So to get started, we have had amazing things happen because of the people we have here at Utah State, and it doesn't happen over a single year. In fact, some of the things I'm going to show you have taken literally decades to get in place. One of those efforts has been how well we are doing with completions of students who attend USU. This rainbow-looking graph actually depicts all of the certificates and degrees that we give here at Utah State University. Every color, a different credential. We're the only institution in the state that awards all the way from tech ed certificates through associates, bachelor's, master's, PhDs, and doctorates. And they're all shown on this graph. And as you can see, one of the very best things is we continue to increase the number of degrees and credentials that we give across the years. But the reason that I also included one individual, Kiera Johnson, is to remind us that each one of those awards is a person. It's a single student who had a dream of getting a credential from Utah State University. And through all of our collective works, they have been able to go on with that credential in hand. And we hope that they can continue on in their life and achieve the next dreams that they envision for themselves, their families, and their communities. Now this is a graph that I'm going to take a little bit of time because I want all of us at USU to be able to articulate what's happening for all those people that say, what the heck, USU's enrollment is flat. Yes, that is in fact true. From 2012 up to 2021, we've had essentially 23,000, almost 24,000 students head count at day 15. This is the day that all the universities post their enrollment. But the thing that's overlaid on this in the bar chart is our awards. And I haven't actually included workforce and TE. Those would have been the bottom two colors on that previous graph, but it does include all of our associates, bachelor's, master's, PhDs, and doctorates. And as I said, we've increased over the last 10 years in awards. So why do I bring this up? Well, Michael Torrance, the director of AAA, has come up with an analogy that he likes to use to represent this. In your mind, picture those drink dispensers that USU Event Services has with water or colored drinks. And it's got a spigot at the bottom and a lid at the top. And as people come over and fill their glasses up, the liquid dispenses and they add at the top. They add more and more to keep that level up. Okay, what we are doing is similar to that. Think of the spigot as our students going out with awards. And think of the liquid that's coming in the top as new students. Now what we're doing is opening that spigot wider and wider as more and more students are being graduated. And what do? We have to fill that liquid, that top, with more and more students to even keep it at a constant volume. And that's actually what's happening in our enrollment. It is not that we do not have amazing recruiters and an amazing story to bring students to Utah State. It is that our awards are increasing, meaning more is coming out of the end. And therefore, I am proud that we have flat enrollment. So when someone says to you, what's going on? Say enrollment is just one of the pieces of our story. The real success is that our awards are increasing every single year. In fact, I think it's a 4% annualized increase over the last decade. Now, one of the things we've done amazingly well is our online education. In fact, we've had online for 26 years, and it is high quality. Many institutions went into online education during the COVID pandemic. They had to, as we were told to move to more virtual education opportunities for our students. But USU had the experience to make it outstanding, even during that quick pivot into virtual mode of instruction. So during COVID, we had 24,000 students take at least one online class. And you might be thinking, well, what the heck? She showed 24 on that last slide. Well, we have concurrent enrollment students, high school students, also taking our online courses. And you can see the numbers there. And the thing is, students can do full online if they choose, in degrees, minors, and certificates, all the way up to a doctorate of education. But the quality of our online is very, very clear. Here are awards, U.S. News and World Report, and this is a big deal to be designated by that. And it shows bachelor's, veterans bachelor's, and bachelor's in psychology. Congrats to those here from the Department of Psychology. We have been in the top 25 of U.S. News, World and Report for the last 8 years, the top 25. No other institution in Utah can actually claim that. So very proud of how well we do our online programming. One of the other hallmarks of Utah State that I know you folks know is how much we involve our students, not just in classroom, but out of classroom, in that experiential learning, as they now call it. We've done it for decades, and it makes a difference. It's why our students graduate with success, why our students are very successful when they get out, and why our students remember us when they become alumni. This is just one example. It's the Getaway Special team. This program, Getaway Special, in the Department of Physics, has been around for over 20 years. Most recently, a group of the students developed a satellite that was flown on the International Space Station and then deployed, okay? Now this satellite is that little box down there, gas pack. And what it has in there is an inflatable boom. One of the students is holding it. It's about 1 meter long. It was, I guess, crunched up, stuck in that cube, flown by a rocket up to the International Space Station. And then in January, it was deployed. It was sent off into space, and the students were here in Logan tracking to see if it would work. And we have a short video that will show you their success. Oops, except I have to go to this slide.
This morning, our satellite gas packs was successfully deployed from the International Space Station.
Standing by for visual confirmation. And then there was about a 35-minute period where we were waiting for the satellite to boot up and start sending out beacons. We were keeping track of different ground stations and radios all around the world. And eventually we heard our audio beacon. There's always a decent chance that a satellite won't work. So to finally get to that point where it's working, we went nuts.
The fact that we could hear it meant that our satellite had already successfully completed a lot of its operations. It had deployed its antenna, the computer was running, and it booted up successfully, and it was alive.
Our team is fully undergrads, which is certainly a challenge, but it's a very, very rewarding challenge. So I invite anyone that likes space, no matter the major, come join the team, come help us build up our next satellite, and come enjoy what we have felt today.
All right, congratulations to the physics department for giving those students that kind of experience. Another new program we have is in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences in the Department of Political Science. It's called Center for Anticipatory Intelligence, and I have to tell you, it took me quite a few practices to be able to say that. It's directed by Brianna Bowen and Jeannie Johnson, and what they've started is an academic program that uses a cross-discipline instruction for students to be able to anticipate trends, threats, and consequences that are going on in the 21st century. So they're using data science, mathematics, social science, et cetera, to just watch for things that might be predicting changes and activities across the world. I had a chance to actually visit a couple of these students down at the posters on the hill at the Capitol this year. One student was looking at how climate change is changing shipping routes, particularly around on the north side of the globe. Another student was looking at countries and their stashes of rare metals that are used in many different ways and predicting how the countries that have a lot may be able to control the countries that don't. It's that type of programming and thought that students in the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence are working on. We're getting a lot of recognition for this program. The group just got a $5 million grant to extend the academic pipeline to students that are at UVU, and then through these programs, then place them in the industry with businesses that are looking at their security challenges. DoD, Department of Defense, is also very interested in this program and recently gave an almost $1.5 million grant to the program. So again, students love being part of this. I also want to recognize how well our students are doing at the statewide campuses, but one thing that's really, I think, noteworthy is we named our first department head, who is now not on the Logan campus, is actually located at Eastern Price, and that's Dr. Suzanne Polster, who's the department head of journalism, and really excited that we're recognizing that leadership can happen not only in Logan, but on our statewide campuses as well. We also have a picture of a traditional hogan that was built on our USU landing. And Christian Olson, the associate vice president there, said the students and the community are so grateful for this. They've been having traditional ceremonies. They have moments of meditation. They have times and a place to reflect. Very, very glad we were able to do that. USU Eastern has athletics, not directly connected with the Logan program, but it's successful in its own right. They've had the women's women's volleyball team won the conference championship, and they have a rodeo club that did very, very well in the college national finals. And then we have an outstanding nationally recognized welding program at USU Eastern, and they have won for the third time the welding national championship. Now, one of the things that our students did was came up with a statewide constitution. For the first time, we now do elections for a USU SA president, executive vice president, and the student advocate vice president, who will serve all students across the USU system. And very, very excited to announce this year's inaugural campus university-wide students. Clara Alder is the president, Abe Rodriguez is the executive vice president, and Ethan Conley is the student advocate vice president. And I know they will serve our state-wide students very, very well. And then each campus has an elected council that will feed up into the university-wide leadership. We're always thinking on how we connect with our students, and guess what? Students don't use websites and they don't use email, as we have found, right, Fran, over the years. So we have a social media platform that students can use called My USU. They launched the 2.0 version just recently. I think this was out of our academic and instructional services. What? Student affairs, all right. And we greatly, greatly appreciate this. So we're working more and more to disseminate information to our students through this platform. I'd now like to move into our research. One of our biggest announcements, biggest excitement points this year was that we have been classified as a Carnegie R1 very high research activity institution. Only 137 in the country, and we are now one. And I know that this has been a tremendous effort for many, many people. Our researchers, our staff, all of those who are directly involved in research or support it through their assignments here on campus. And we know that designation is going to help us as we recruit students, particularly those interested in graduate programs, as well as recruit and retain our faculty. We've been able to do this because of a tremendous growth in research grant funding. And you can see this over the last 5 years, a 62% increase. We broke $316 million in the last year. The other component, though, of USU that makes us so strong in research is we believe and do undergraduate research. We have a long, long history of this, starting decades ago, and the efforts we do with our undergrads were actually recognized in 2020 as receiving the National Council on Undergraduate Research Award. And we think the combination of our R1 status plus our strong efforts in undergraduate research will continue our success for years to come. And we actually can benchmark this against our peers. These are the Board of Higher Education for Utah designated peers for Utah State. Last year, we were below Oregon State in research expenditures. This year, we jumped over the top of them, and we are hard on the heels of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. When you think about it, this is pretty darn exciting that we are right there in the top tiers of land-grant institutions as far as research expenditures. So really, really proud of our success. And just as the University of Utah has the University of Utah Medical School contributing to their research success, Utah State has the Space Dynamics Lab, What an incredible organization. You know, they've been around for, I think it's almost 40 years, I can't quite remember, but they also have been accelerating their success. And around the holiday season, it was announced that they had been granted a $1 billion contract with the Air Force Research Laboratory across 10 years. And I was talking with personnel there, and already the Air Force is filling that contract with exciting things they would like to do with Space Dynamics Lab. They will continue to grow. There are over 1,000 employees with more than 900 located right here in Cache Valley, right up the street. And we know that this will continue to expand their facilities here on our innovation campus and absolutely want to continue our partnerships with them. In fact, we're looking at a new position that will be awarded to a department for someone who can partner with the Space Dynamics Lab and get one of those experiments hopefully out on the International Space Station in the near future. Another program that we launched was the Institute for Land, Water, Air. Now, this is another one that for decades we have been working on, the areas of research, education, and outreach in the natural resources, but even more broadly, if we think of it as land, water, and air. It touches almost every single one of our departments and colleges as we have people looking at the quality of life, pressures that are happening with expanding communities. How can we keep Utah the way that we wanted? Right as we were announcing the creation of the Institute, we were awarded a naming of that, the Janet Quinney Lawson Institute for Land, Water, Air, and this foundation committed $7 million to bear the name on our institute. And as I said, we've been doing this kind of research and outreach for decades. We have over 150 faculty who can list their primary expertise in one or more of these areas. And together, we pulled several of those to deliver the first of what we plan to be many annual reports to the governor entitled Utah's Land, Water, and Air. And I would like to say we have hard copies over there in the back, but we didn't anticipate how popular this would be. The first edition is now a collector's issue. Guard those carefully. But if you would like a copy of it, you can download it as a PDF. And it's really framing what Utah is experiencing and some ideas that our people are putting out there as approaches that we can do across Utah. It's not just for agencies, it's not just for businesses. It includes ideas that all of us as citizens of Utah can do. Our expertise is being recognized. For instance, in this legislative session, we were put in House Bill 326 as one of the evaluators of the Strategic Innovation Grant Program that will have expansion, growth, and development down at the point of the mountain. And our institute expertise will be evaluating those grants on how well they are addressing issues of land, water, and air. I've mentioned before one of our other research successes, that's Aspire. It's led by Regan Zane, who has pulled together an incredible team all across the world to look at sustainable electrified transportation. And one of the key moments in this Aspire's history was a few years ago. They were awarded an NSF 5-year, $26 million grant, which is possible to get a second, a renewal of that, and we certainly anticipate that being successful as well. But now that Regan and his team is are really starting to put out ideas of electrified transportation. Utah has found them and is now bringing that expertise into projects that are expanding. One of those is the inland port over by the airport. Regan has been asked, and his group have been asked to help them develop ways to electrify the heavy truck transports that will be coming in and around that inland port. And we also just recently received a contract or a connection with Stadler US Incorporated, a company out of Switzerland that is looking to make electrified trains here, starting with a pilot in Utah. And again, Regan and his team, and especially the students, will be involved on that. Next, I wanted to move over to our fundraising year. We've had tremendous success there. We've raised over $100 million year to date. That means as of March 1st, we have raised $100 million of private funds. And to give you a perspective, the next best year was in 2008 when we were in the capital campaign, and at the end of 12 months, we raised $94 million. So we're very, very appreciative to all the hard work that our advancement team, led by Matt White, all of the people in our colleges and departments working to do this, as well as many of you in the audience who have given of your private means to make us successful. One of the highlights of this year was the Bastion Agricultural Center, a gift that was valued over $41 million. But I should mention that it actually is a name that's been bestowed on the formerly known Salt Lake County Equestrian Park. And so for those of you that travel down there by South Jordan, you're going to find USU has their name and their management and their programming in that facility. We also have gotten some tremendous endowments in various departments, and we actually have a special guest here today with us, Mehdi Haravi. Mehdi is a longtime supporter of USU. In fact, he's given over $5 million in endowments across the College of Agriculture, Humanities, and Social Sciences, and the Department of Education and Human Services, and recently has given to special collections in the library. So let's just acknowledge here one of our best donors. Now, we do a lot of work on honoring our great Aggies, and I've listed some of the various things that are happening, where we award faculty, we award students, we do alumni, and of course, our graduates this year. And so looking forward to participating in various events of those. One of the saddest things, though, that happened this year was that Neil Abercrombie, Vice President for Government Relations, went over to the governor's office, and granted, it was a great job, a special assistant to the governor in legislative issues, but it's still a bummer for USU. So I hope you can join us for a reception for Neil in the Alumni House on April 13th. Now, we do a lot of great things with our alumni who have had successes, and I just pulled up one that's happening here this week. On Thursday, it's Babu Mohapatra. See, I had to think about that. But Babu is just a wonderful, wonderful person. He graduated in economics, but he's actually a fashion designer in New York City. Very, very successful. You can see some of the people who he has dressed over the years, including Michelle Obama. And he is bringing 20 of his dresses here and will be showing them at an event on Thursday night, and then displaying those in the Nora Eccles Harrison Museum of Art. And just as a little aside, somehow they convinced me to be one of the models, but I doubt I'll be wearing that particular outfit. Aggie Athletics going great. Amazing student athletes. First and foremost, 93 graduation rate for this last year, which is the best in the Mountain West Conference, even over places like Air Force and Colorado State. Very proud of that. And then we've listed all of the championships we've had. Women's volleyball shown in the picture, the football, best record since 2012 for soccer, the women's cross country team excelling, and then just this weekend, our gymnastics team, which was ranked 26th in the nation, won the MRGC Conference Championship and is now they are on their way to the NCAA finals. So really great year in celebrating athletics. We have some new hires. I saw at least one of those in our audience, Al Smith. He's now the Dean of the M. Eccles Jones College of Education and Human Services since July 1st and joined us from Michigan State. Jed Hancock is now the president and COO of the Space Dynamics Lab. He's been with Space Dynamics Lab for many years, but has been elevated to this position following Scott Hinton. Really excited to work with Jed. He's great. He actually joined me at my legislative presentation this year down at the Capitol and did a short presentation of SDL. Matt Pinner came from the University of Illinois and has joined us as Executive Director of the Office of Equity. And we've also, through his leadership in building the office to handle Title IX and discrimination issues. Mike Keene, who will look quite familiar to you, was actually here in 2017 to 2019 as our police chief. He has returned as Director of Public Service and will oversee our fire department, police department, and emergency response. And then we're also currently working on two important positions for us, a brand new Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Those candidates will be on campus in the near future within the next couple weeks. I encourage you to get engaged with those. And then the Dean of the S.J. and Jesse E. Quinney College of Natural Resources, we've started bringing those finalists in last week. And that person will follow Chris Lukey, who will retire as Dean after a very successful decade of leadership. We also have several new projects that are approaching either completion or groundbreaking. The first is the USU Moab building. That's a picture of it. It looks exactly like that. It's an incredibly gorgeous building that fits in to the landscape of Moab. But on top of it, it's a combustion-free net zero energy building with geothermal energy somehow being created under the parking lot, as well as some very energy efficient savings throughout the building. And through the Eccles Foundation, we were able to add on to that building and for our tech ed programs, and we now will have welding and construction on one side of the building. So something we hope will not only do our college students, but bring the grand high school students up to see what they can do in post-secondary education. Now, Mehdi Haravi, the person that I introduced earlier, we've named the Global Teaching and Learning Center for him because of his significant friendship with Utah State. This is a new building on the corner of the quad. This is like an aerial view of it, where we will house all of our language and cultural classes, as well as our intensive English program. And we anticipate this being a hub of student communication, friendships, partnerships, and just vibrant places where people of all cultures can come together and learn and interact. Now, unfortunately, for those of you folks who park in the purple parking lot, there's going to be an announcement. During construction, we have to take your parking because it's a very tight spot, and you'll receive that in a very short time because we are getting ready to do the groundbreaking for that. You may have noticed that we have new residential halls going up over to the west of the tennis court. The most recent is called the Canyon Crest Suites. It matches with the Center Suites to create a housing hub over there and does have a parking terrace for those students, and we anticipate we are right on schedule. There's not going to be any delay in getting students in there for fall 2022. We also are excited about two other projects. The first, the one shown in this picture, is a new building in Monument Valley. And this is in partnership with the Navajo Nation. We actually will be leasing the ground for the USU building from the San Juan School District. And what we envision is not just an education building, but something that the community can take part in. As you can imagine, on the Navajo Nation, internet connectivity is very, very limited. But through our resources and our ability, we will have internet, and we will open this to the community to come over and use that connection. We also hope to be able to program in a food pantry, again, where people of the community can come and see what we have. It'll have welding, it'll have nursing, health sciences, as well as several broadcast classes. I'm just so excited about this, but we do have a bit of fundraising to do it. We did receive $5 million from the governor's office to help us get started. So just so eager to be able to break ground for that. The next one is a building that not many people have heard about. We are going to be building a veterinary science building. Notice where it's located, on the Innovation Campus, because this will be a hub of research and education for our brand new College of Veterinary Medicine. And in order to keep the College of Veterinary Medicine on track, we need this building ready by fall 2025, which is going to be amazing since we don't even have a picture like we have for the Monument Valley yet. But these guys are ready to run and get that going. Couldn't be done if I didn't talk about COVID-19. What an incredible 2 years. We at Utah State, across our statewide campuses and here in Logan, have done almost 34,000 COVID tests. And through our case containment, done almost 15,000 hours of working with people who have been exposed or contracted COVID. Last fall semester, we asked our students to declare whether they were vaccinated or were going to get vaccinated. And across the whole system, 85% of our students recognized that. We believe the high vaccination rates of our faculty, staff, and students is why we've been able to manage COVID so well. Up in the corner there is a 7-day COVID-19 case trend as of March 17th. It looks just like the country's curves. High, we thought it was high in fall 2020 when we started doing our tests. We had an incredible spike with Omicron. It rapidly dropped off. We don't really know what the newest variants, BA.2, will do, but from all that I've seen, it looks like vaccinations are the ways to keep that under control. We will be dialing back our COVID testing site as well as our case containment. At least at this moment in time, we think we'll be dialing it back at the end of spring semester. But if by some chance we see another outbreak, we can bring it back online. Okay, USU College of Veterinary Medicine. So we had an amazing legislative session. It was exhausting. It was challenging, it was peaks and valleys, but in the end of it, we were able to get the funding we needed to launch the College of Veterinary Medicine. And I should call out special tribute to Jen Seelig, who is a USU employee with the Institute of Government and Politics, as well as Dave Butterfield, an alumnus of ours who works with USU Credit Union. These two individuals were in the legislature a few years ago, and we recruited them to help me since I didn't have Neil Abercrombie to lean on. Like I said, it was quite a session. At the end of it, the state gave us $18 million ongoing to get the College of Veterinary Medicine up and going. And when we're done, we will have a 4-year professional doctorate school graduating 80 doctorates of veterinary medicine every year. One of the great advantages of this is now that we've been able to expand our classes to 80 students, we will be able to increase the number of Utahns that have access to the school. Currently, we're doing about 20 per year and sending them for the 3rd and 4th year to Washington State. We will increase the numbers to at least 40 Utahns each year. Tremendous excitement about that. And you can see the land or the area of the Intermountain West that we'll be able to service. Just a super exciting moment for Utah State. And it does a lot of great things. First of all, the shortage of veterinarians. We're 42nd in the state, or in the country, for number of veterinarians per capita. But one of the biggest things that happened was during COVID, people got companion pets. And so the veterinarians are working even harder right now, extremely appreciative that we will be able to do this. A large part of our program will focus on animal agriculture, as you would expect from Utah State University. But one of the most exciting things is the increase in capacity in research and technology that we can do in biolife sciences. Hence the building on the Innovation Campus where faculty will be housed. This gives Utah the 4 professional schools, medical, dental, law, and now veterinary sciences at Utah State. Only 25 land grants currently have veterinary schools, will be the 26. So thinking of the timeline, it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious. We will accept our first class of 40 in fall 24. By fall 25, when that building's ready to go, our next class will be the full 80 students. So very exciting. We had other great accomplishments in the legislature this year. 5.75 salary compensation increase. Let's give a round of applause for that. It's the highest salary increase that have been given to public employees since 2003, and maybe even earlier. That's the most I have records of. Now, we are working to discuss how we will separate and assign this. We've always had 2 pools of money. There's been one that's a crossed salary compensation increase to those that have appropriate performance. Then we have another pool of money we call flex that's used for merit, compression, and equity. So given that this is an extremely high increase that's been given to us, we've started conversations with the Budget Faculty Welfare Committee of Faculty Senate. Tomorrow I'll meet with the leadership of the Staff Employees Committee, and then on Wednesday I'll meet with the Executive Committee, deans, vice presidents, and others to discuss how we want to split in those two pools. But if you folks have opinions, I would love to hear those. We think this is just a remarkable year where we want to make sure our people know how much we've appreciated them for the last 2 years of incredible work and, as I said, resilience. So we want to make sure that people are feeling how much we appreciate them with that. I mentioned earlier that Regan Sain's Aspire group is now working with Statler US Inc. They got an $18 million research grant for developing a zero-emissions electric transit train. Now, Statler was the one that built the front runner, but it's diesel. And we all know that we would like to convert that to electric. But in Europe, they have those electric overhead lines, and people aren't really going to want those all along the front runner line. So instead, using Regan's technology, they will build where they can charge those trains while they're on the track. The first will be at stops of the front runner, but eventually he's hoping that they can do it while in motion. And this is the concept that Regan is really working on and has made that consortium so successful. A total surprise was $850,000 ongoing for Alzheimer's and Dementia Research Center in the Emma Eccles Jones College of Education and Human Services. It actually is thanks to Representative Dan Johnson here in Cache Valley, who reached out to Beth Fouth, who is in the Human Development and Family Science, I think I have, it's HDFS, whatever that stands for. And she has an incredible program talking about caregivers for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. And this is just an incredible opportunity for us to expand the kind of support and research we give to those people. And then another small but very meaningful legislative funding is $75,000 for the Food Security Council. This is a group that will be developing and expanding food pantries as well as SNAP Ed program that USU Extension does. And this, we're hoping to be able to add that to our Monument Valley building. So, pretty good year, wouldn't you say? I think it's been amazing. Yep, let's do it. Now, one of the things that I've launched is a USU strategic plan, something that can identify those opportunities we want for the next 5 to 8 years, not ready to rest. So we've pulled together a lead committee chaired by Vice President Matt White of Advancement and Michael Torrens, Director of AAA, with a lot of other expertise for this. But as they come up with themes of what we want Utah State University to be known as, we're going to bring that out to the campus university community as well as alumni and stakeholders to get feedback on that. So super excited of the current Utah State University, and even more excited for what Utah State will be in the future. So thank you so much, and we will open it now to questions. And I have my group here that will mediate questions, right? Are we getting any online?
We're taking questions online. If anyone wants to ask via AggieCast, I can bring a mic to you, or you're welcome to come up here and ask a question on the mic.
Oh, come on, folks. What do you think we should do in our strategic plan? Anybody got some ideas there? I actually, after the announcement of the vet school, I got an email from an alumnus who wants us to start a med school, but I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that. So, well, you guys are all eager to get back to work? Is that what it is? Anybody want to comment on our 5.75 salary compensation distribution? Anybody want to lead out on that? Anybody here from BFW? You guys have proposed something. All right. I guess we're going to have to conclude. Well, thank you guys all for participating over AggieCast. Do we have any questions? No? Okay, well, it is Monday, and maybe that's what it is. So thank you so much for participating. Again, I think Utah State is doing great, and we're just going to keep making great things happen. So thank you for all you do for Utah State.